We're going to get in an updated fantasy football draft and figure out exactly how these guys are valued rest of season. We've had a considerable amount of injuries. Justin Jefferson on the IR. Anthony Richardson on the IR. Devon Achane officially as of this morning now on the IR. So let's go ahead. Let's figure out how these guys are being valued, where these guys are being drafted. We're going to be hopping into an Underdog best ball draft, a best ball resurrection. Keep in mind, these best ball drafts, no time commitment at all during the year. Ty drafted 400 to 500 teams this year on Underdog. Ty won $150,000 on Underdog Fantasy last season and still managed to live stream for approximately 1 million hours a day during the season. But let's go ahead and get in here. This is a $10 buy-in, $30,000 for first place tournament. And hopefully we get a decent draft pick, ladies and gentlemen. But as our room gets filled, real quick, we do have 3 spots open in this draft for anybody who wants to be in here with us. Let me remind y'all, Underdog, I know maybe it's a little confusing if you're not already on it. Yeah, this is the same site where you have all those pick'ems that we show y'all in every single video. And if you want to get in a draft with us on Underdog Fantasy, I mean, that's how we drafted we've streamed 166 days in a row. During the offseason, we're drafting Underdog teams every single day. Going to be drafting some more in this season if you want to draft with us, or if you want to go check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog. You can find that link in the live chat, in the description, or in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, you'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for tomorrow night's game. And Underdog hooked up everybody who's used promo code FLOCK as well since it's our birthday week with the Justin Herbert special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that if you have not done so already. So yesterday, we actually did a draft from pick 1. I guess we're going to be in here at 12 today, ladies and gentlemen. Will be significantly more difficult. We saw Justin Jefferson go off the board at 9 in our last draft. Probably not getting Justin Jefferson off the board at 9 again. I would assume Jefferson is going to be falling a considerable amount further than that, but we'll see. Real quick, Steven says, do we start Mercado, Ramadre, or Robinson? Probably going to go with Ramadre in a PPR format. Brian Robinson, non-PPR. Keontae Ingram was actually listed as the starter today. I'm really not excited to start anybody in Arizona until we see who it's going to be. YP Creation says, 9-team league, Jacobs, Godwin for Waddle and Hall. Very fair deal, and it's going to be up to you. Very interested to see where these guys go in that draft. Now, you have Stephon Diggs going before Jamar Chase. That is interesting here, seeing Chase go at 4. Ethan says, should we trade James Cook for Devonta Smith? Very fair deal. I think it is dependent on your team. I would probably rather have Smith. Now, Tillian says, single flex format, we have Lamar, Bijan, Pollard, Diggs, Judy, Andrews, Hall, JT, Moss, Mercado, Wilson, Warren, Reynolds. Any moves we should be making to get some wide receiver firepower? Honestly, if you wanted to go through and sell a running back like Breece Hall and see if we can go get a wide receiver like CeeDee Lamb, this is a team where you could afford to go out there and do that. However, if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I'm completely fine building around the running back position as you already have, and you have a very strong team there. JJ says, who wins? Miles Sanders and Judy for Godwin and Madison. Godwin over Judy, Miles Sanders, Madison. Who the hell cares? Fair deal, up to you. I'd probably rather have the Godwin side, especially Mike Williams did not practice today. Maybe this injury for Mike Williams will be a little bit more serious than you initially thought. Okay, let's swing this back around. Yeah, Justin Jefferson still not off the board like we said. In that last draft, Jefferson did go off at pick 9. Let's see what this team is going to end up doing here at 10. They go Keenan Allen at 10. I mean, I would have been excited about getting Keenan Allen at 12. He's already through his bye week. And at the same time, you have no Mike Williams. So instead, we are going to go ahead. We will take Devonta Smith and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I think you could make an argument maybe for Kenneth Walker over one of these guys, considering the fact that Walker's already made it through his bye. However, if you're looking at Underdog Fantasy drafts, your starting lineup is going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Like I said, you're not actually submitting your starting lineup on a week-to-week perspective. It's automatically being done for you with the highest possible guys at the end of every single week. But still, we do want to be building around wide receiver where we can. Benny says, started the season with Dobbins, Chubb, Jamal. Had a solid past couple weeks. My running backs got screwed again. We have James Cook, Achane, and Khalil. Oh my gosh, my man. Just absolutely brutal, right? Because if you have those guys at the very top, you're saying, okay, I saved my season. I managed to do it. I got Devon Achane off the waiver wire. I'm going to be able to survive now. And then that happens. I'm so damn sorry. Bobby says, Kyron or Swift rest of season in a full PBR format. Honestly, going to be up to you. I think you could go either way. I think Swift's in a better offense, but Kyron has a larger workload. Let's see where they go in this draft. Adrian says, 18th, happy BR 4-1. We have Herbert, Bijan, Swift, Mixon, Achane, Charbonnet, Diggs, Chase, Lamb, Watson, Higgins, Jameson, Goddard. Traded Swift and Lamb for Allen and Jacob. Oh, great deal. I'd rather have Keenan Allen over Lamb at this point. And yeah, Jacobs versus Swift. Probably give me Jacobs just with the overall workload that he has. I like it. Brutus, always happy to see you. My man says, this is the trade now. We get we get Kamara, Walker, Godwin for Eckler and Ayuk. Oh, you trade. Oh, thank God. As long as you're getting the Eckler side, right? I mean, give me Ayuk over Godwin. Give me Eckler over Kamara and Walker. Here you see Austin Eckler go as the RB2 at pick 5 overall. And we have a great team where we also have Jacobs, Hill, Ridley, Wilson. So we have a lot of depth. I think you want to do that. PS Music says traded Puka and Mostert for A.J. Brown, half PBR 10-team league. How did I do? 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, get the best player. However, I will say Mostert is very exciting with the Achane injury, even if Jeff Wilson Jr. is coming back. Seaburst says, Komet and Hollywood for Andrews. Go Andrews by a mile. If you have Lamar, it just makes it easier. Jeff says, should we drop my backup quarterback Dak for Kyler or Stroud going forward? If you wanted to drop Dak for Stroud, yes. I'm not rostering Kyler until he comes back. Trevor, happy to see you. My man says 2-3 at BBR 8-team league. Just lost Jefferson. Said I was open to trades and getting interest. We have Lamb at wide receiver 2. We get running back, best running back, Swift, Mostert. What kind of trade value should we be looking to get? So if you are seeing Justin Jefferson in this draft, Jefferson still has not gone off the board inside the first 2 rounds. To be honest with you, if you are in a 12-team format, I would say let's panic. Let's go get anybody we can. In an 8-team league, however, I'm going to be looking to honestly kind of hold on to Justin Jefferson because in that 8-team format, you're a little bit more inclined to just go through and take the player that you perceive to have the highest ceiling in the long term, where you're going to be able to have an easier replacement in the short term. So honestly, if you could sell Jefferson for any wide receiver here that goes inside the first 13 picks, I do it and it's a no-brainer. But in an 8-team league, I think you're going to be able to overcome the Jefferson news. Pedro says 10-team BBR league, Burrow or Purdy. We're going to go Burrow. Madison, Moss, Hollywood, McLaurin, Hawkinson, Addison. And then on the bench, we have Gainwell, Jamal, Jeff, Garrett Wilson, and Spears. Yeah, so we don't have a ton of depth here. I will say one thing is I probably want to be starting Garrett Wilson over Terry McLaurin, even in a tough matchup against Philly. But yeah, great team. I think that we're really banking on Joe Burrow just getting healthier going forward. DJ Moore goes off the board 28. You have Waddle going at 29. I don't want to say too much because obviously a player that I may be looking at right now make it back to us at 36. Bryson says 10-team PBR format 3-2. We have Burrow, Eckler, Pollard, Hall, Olave, Ridley, Higgins, Komet. And then on the bench, we have Charbonnet, Roschon, Spears, Dermicado, Osborne, Addison, Stroud, Jefferson on the IR. We lost Chubb. Any moves? Getting Eckler makes our life so much easier. I would say in a 10-team league here, if we start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, typically I'd be looking to go out there and upgrade from tight end over Cole Kmet if possible. However, I would say specifically with this team, if we lost Chubb and now we have Jefferson on the IR, probably not a possible move that we can make for this time, but still at the same time, great team in the long term. I mean, we're 3-2. I know we were dealing with some injuries now with, say, Jefferson, but you are getting Eckler back. I think it's a strong team. I think you just have to wait till we get these guys back, then maybe make a play and upgrade tight end. Now, P-Man says 10 TPBR, Kirk, Kyron, Bijan, Kupp, AJ, Andrews, Thielen. And then on the bench, we have Brees, Ridley, Nico, James Conner. Any moves? We do have a considerable amount of depth here where I feel like we can go out there and make a play at quarterback. If you could send, say, like Nico Collins and Kirk Cousins and go get Lamar Jackson to stack with Andrews, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Or if you wanted to send like Brees Hall and Kirk Cousins and see if we can go get Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Jalen Hurts, I'd look to do that as well. But Ridley, Olave off the board 33-34. You have Jefferson and Achane falling a considerable amount here. Hawkinson goes I'm going to do something that's idiotic, and I would not tell you to do the same thing. We will take someone who's going to miss the next 4 weeks at a minimum here at pick 36. We'll take Kyron Williams as well. So the thought process here, and I know it's a super high risk move, and I get it. And in best ball, it is going to dramatically lower our probability of getting this team to the fantasy football playoffs. 100%. However, this is a $10 buy-in. It is $30,000 to first place. 90% of the teams that were drafted before Justin Jefferson was placed on the IR. So 90% of those teams that drafted took Justin Jefferson inside the first 5 to 6 picks minimum. Most of the time, Jefferson at pick 1 or 2. So if you look at the overall tournament, 99% of the time, the Justin Jefferson team, or obviously I'm exaggerating, but a high percentage of the time, the Justin Jefferson team will not be making it to the fantasy football playoffs, especially the 90% of teams that drafted him at pick 1 or 2. So if we can sneak this team to the fantasy football playoffs, and if Jefferson were to only miss 4 weeks, which he could miss the entire season, we don't know at this point, then we may be one of the only teams in a $10 buy-in, $30,000 to first place prize tournament that actually has Justin Jefferson for weeks 15, 16, 17, and he could be the number 1 overall scorer there. Now, like I said, I am an idiot. I am not telling you to go out here and make these same moves. Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel will dramatically outscore Justin Jefferson rest of the season here, and they will have higher advance rates overall in this tournament. But from a game theory standpoint, when I entered these tournaments, how I won 2 tournaments last year on Underdog and how I won $150,000 is I understand the majority of the times I'm going to lose anyway. And I'm just chasing the highest ceiling possible. And I am willing to lose my $10 if it gives me a slightly higher shot of winning $30,000. So I will go ahead. I will take Justin Jefferson here, and y'all can't make fun of me. Now, I believe our next question coming out from Cedric says, running backs to trade Puka for, we have Stevenson and Pacheco. If you look at the running backs that go directly ahead of Puka, you have Hall, Etienne, Jacobs, Montgomery, Walker. I think you could trade Puka for any of those RBs. And then I think I would honestly probably trade him for DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor as well. Now, Saram coming out says 2-3, 12-team PPR. We have Hurts, Hall, Javonte, Achane, Hunt, Gainwell, Kelsey. Achane injury weakens the team, 100%. I mean, Achane was absolutely crushing my man. Any trades? So now at running back, I mean, at least we have Hall breaking out. Our RB2 looks like at this point, we're most likely going to go out there and play Javonte Williams, which we just simply can't get away with. I mean, I think we go ahead and we see if we can sell DeAndre Hopkins. Honestly, no, I don't even know if we do that. I hate to say it. I really do. But now if Javonte's the guy that we have to rely upon at running back 2, and then our wide receiver 3 years, Gabe Davis, so we don't really have much depth to the wide receiver position. We're 2-3. We need points in the lineup now. I love Hurts in this format. I love Kelsey in this format. But if you could go through and sell Kelsey for Bijan, sell Kelsey for Pollard, sell Kelsey for Eckler, you may have to make that move specifically in that scenario. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 likes away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Help us hit 200. We have live streamed every single day for 166 days in a row. And of course, we're drafting on Underdog here. If you want to get into a draft with us on Underdog, it's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the season. You're not submitting your starting lineups, automatically done for you at the end of every single week. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you have no waiver wire, so you're going to draft 18 rounds deep. So you can focus in on the team you care most about. You can find that link in the live chat in the description. It's the same place where you have all the Underdog Pick'em specials every single week. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings. Plus, if you're new, you're going to get a Patrick Mahomes special pick of more than less than half a total yard. And you'll be getting a Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard on top of it, because Underdog hooked us up for our birthday this week and super pumped we were able to get all of y'all that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. But that one does coming out, says 12-team full PPR 3-2. We lost Chubb, now Achane. We have Allen, Henry, Algier, Smith, Collins, Kittle, Flowers. And we have Warren, Sutton, Hubbard, Downs, Johnson, Keontae Ingram. Ooh. The thing is, we don't have the depth on this team. Like, we sell Flowers, and all of a sudden you're having to start Sutton in the flex spot. So we just plug one hole and cause another at the same time. So I don't necessarily know if that's a move that we would look to make instead. I think you may be better off if you were to go through and see if we could sell Kittle and get to a viable running back. We'll look at some of the running backs on this draft board that you could possibly sell Kittle for. And if you could sell Kittle for a viable RB and then stream the tight end position, that may be interesting. And keep in mind, I actually had George Kittle as a buy low candidate a few weeks back, but obviously once he spikes in value, we can always opt to change our mind. We're going to go Jordan Addison and get the correlation here with Justin Jefferson. And also hopefully we get a bump in Addison's play in the meantime. And we will go Tua. We don't have a Miami Dolphins stack, which is a little bit frustrating, but it is a great value with Tua. So it is what it is. Let's go ahead and let's take him. But yeah, if we're looking to sell possibly George Kittle, it's one thing I really like about these drafts. You get a sense of how people value players now. You have Kittle currently going around pick 56. If you could sell Kittle, maybe go get like Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Mixon, Raheem Mostert, Kyron Williams, like any of those running backs to go before, and maybe not James Cook or Aaron Jones, but essentially any RB in that range. I think that may be a move we are forced to make, even if we don't want to. Now, Craig says, what's up, Mason? 4-1, JT, HN owner, 1-4. I want to trade Barkley and Jaleel or Walker and Jaleel to see if they had budge. Which one? I think I would rather sell Barkley with how bad the offense looks and the fact that Kenneth Walker's already through his bye. So yeah, if you could sell Barkley and Jaleel and go get JT and HN for the long-term upside, I think that makes sense, my man. Now, Ross says 14-team PBR double flex. Lost the last 2 weeks to the highest scores. Oh, so we could easily be 5-0. We have Herbert, Love, Bijan, Pollard, Kamara, Hunt, Hopkins, Judy, Davis, Pickens, Chark, Wilson, Henry. Should we be panicking with the highest score in the league? No, my man, you're in a great spot, especially as we get Alvin Kamara fully up to speed here. And I think Pollard will be better going forward. Really, the only thing I would say is if we could pivot off of some of these wide receivers, like if you could pivot off of DeAndre Hopkins and somehow if your league mates aren't super serious and we can get up to the Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave range, I think that'd be an absolute no-brainer. I mean, George Pickens would also be someone that I'm potentially looking to sell. Like if you're going to sell Pickens, I think we'd be looking to get to like the Christian Watson, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman Jr., T. Higgins range. But that's just because you are getting Deontay Johnson back in. But I think you're in a great spot. Thank you so much for always hanging out with us, my man. Now, Zen says, I'm 2-3. Do we trade Jefferson for Walker and DJ Moore or Bijan and Sutton? I would trade Justin Jefferson for Bijan and Sutton in a heartbeat. My quarterback is Fields. My running backs are Mixon and ETN. We don't have great wide receivers, but go sell Jefferson for Bijan and Sutton. I'd way rather have Bijan over Jefferson straight up. I mean, if you look at where they go in this respective draft, I take Justin Jefferson here at 36 and don't even feel that great about it. And you have Bijan Robinson going at 8, you know. Bijan's worth more, my man. He's worth more. Okay. Now, JC says 10-team forward 1, JT for ETN. I think most people would rather have ETN at this point. We have Pollard, Brees, JT right now. Yeah, I think most people would rather have ETN. They're close. I like both running backs. Andrew says traded Kelsey, Flowers for Hawkinson, Waddle, win or loss. I think Hawkinson gets a bump with no Justin Jefferson here, but still probably loss. Billy says 10-team 1-4. Mahomes, Brian Robinson, DeMarcado, Olave, Cooper, Hawkinson, Flowers, Jefferson, Sanders, Algier, Elijah, Hunt, Atwell, Connor, and he moves. Thank you. Thank you, my man. I hate to give you this boring answer, but if you were 1-4 and you lost Justin Jefferson and you lost James Conner, you have no other option but to go through and sell these guys at a loss. You need production in your lineup right now. We can't just think of the long-term upside regarding those players. If you're 1-4, you're essentially stepping into the fantasy football playoffs. You're not out of it. I won my first fantasy football championship after starting 1-4. But you have to be making plays, understanding that it is win or go home time, my man. It is win or to go home time. So let's sell those long-term pieces to get some short-term production. Cole says, what do you think? I trade CMC for Eckler and Godwin? CMC easily, my man. Salvador says, traded Lamb for Mixon and Garrett Wilson. What are your thoughts? Depends on your team and league settings. Jake says, would you trade Brees, Puka, and Addison for Tyreek Hill? In a 10-team league, I think that we make this deal if you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, where we are highly incentivized to build around the stud and not the depth. If it's a deeper format, maybe a little bit tougher because that is a lot. Colton says, start Ramondre or Thielen in a non-PPR format. Also, oh my gosh. Non-PPR, we may go Ramondre. Vegas sportsbooks are telling us that the Patriots are supposed to be not a bottom 3 offense this week. Also trade more Henry Ramondre for Bijan and Ridley. Oh, go get Bijan Ridley easily. I mean, Ridley more up to you. Hunter Henry and Ramondre versus Bijan. Bijan by a mile. That's the move that we're looking to make. And great team, my man. Go get Bijan ASAP. Noah says, should we start Puka or Ridley this week? We already have Kupp, so unsure. I would go with both Rams wide receivers. Right now, I believe they have a top 3 implied team total. Victor says, 12-team BBR 2 and 3. We've got the Tua, Brees, Henry, Tyreek, Jamar, Kittle, Pickens. And then on the bench, Roshan, Javonte, Spears, Jonnu, Stafford, Jeff Wilson Jr. Any moves? I would drop Jonnu. Like, what would ever have to happen for you to start Jonnu Smith here? Pick up another running back or wide receiver that you like the upside of off the waiver wire. I mean, honestly, great team, though. I think you just drop Jonnu. That's all I have to say. Now, Rex says, my man, after last week, I'm tempted to start Kyle Pitts over Jake Ferguson. Is this a trap and Jogu sitting on waivers? We will revisit this, my man, because I want to have people answer this because I'm making my tight end rankings right now, and I'm afraid that we are going to put him too high. And oh, dear God, we got to turn off donations soon, but let me swing this bag around. We are for sure going to draft Kirk Cousins here when we took both Jordan Addison as well as Justin Jefferson. Now, with that being said, we're probably not getting a great price tag, but it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. And obviously, in Underdog Best Ball Drafts, since we are not submitting our starting lineups every single week, and the best starting lineup is automatically going to be submitted for us at the end of every week, there you do draft 2 quarterbacks because they can kind of go back and forth. While at the same time, you are not going to be making moves on the waiver wire. Instead, instead you're going to have to roll with this season throughout the entire season. So you are going to draft 2 to 3 quarterbacks in every draft, 2 to 3 tight ends in every draft. So we will take our 2 quarterbacks here with Tua, Cousins, and stack them up with Jefferson and Addison. We're getting Cousins right behind Lawrence, Burrow, Purdy, and Stroud. Don't think it's a great value, but when we take Jefferson, Addison, we kind of have to do this. But we are 1 like away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. Go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to turn off super chats real quick because I can't afford to fall too far behind. And also, I want you to spam the live chat. Who are you going with? Kyle Pitts or Jake Ferguson? Spam the chat, Kyle Pitts or Jake Ferguson. Please let me know who you'd rather start this week. Okay. Ferg, Jake, Pitts, Pitts, Pitts. Ferg, Ferg, Pitts. Does look like most people are going Jake Ferguson, but ooh. I don't know, my man. I don't know. It's tough for me to tell people to go out there and start him now. Now, Drew says, happy late birthday. Thank you, my man. 12-team PPR. We have Allen, Kabara, Montgomery, Evans, Puka, Laporta, Ayuk, Taylor, Jefferson, Tua. Trade Tua, Puka, Taylor for Diggs and Henry. Taylor to Henry downgrade, Puka to Diggs upgrade. Sending Taylor to get it done when we have Josh Allen. I think it's a fair deal. I think it's up to you and up to what you think long-term you're going to be getting with Jonathan Taylor. J. Rob says, hey, Mason, debating a trade. Would you trade my Godwin and Ferguson for his Michael Pittman and Hunter Henry? Yes, give me Michael Pittman over Godwin or Devonta. I would rather have Smith over all these guys. Yeah, let's go get Smith first. And yeah, I mean, you see Smith in this draft as well. Go in the middle of round 3. Dylan says, should we start Javonte? We have Gibbs, Roshan, and Deonta Foreman. Probably not. Actually, If those are the only running backs we have, then yes. If those are the only running backs we have, then yes. Says PBR single flex, any trade advice. Burrow, Bijan, James Cook, Stevenson, Warren, Roshan, Lamb, Puka, Nico, Hollywood, Godwin, Deontay, Dell. Any 2-for-1 targets. I think we can afford to make 2-for-1 deals with the depth that we have with this team. I mean, ultimately, I think that we're going to be looking to go through and see if we can pivot off of like these depth wide receivers. Like if you could send Nico and James Cook to go get to like the Jonathan Taylor range. I mean, you can kind of see this draft board to get a sense of the other players valued around that point. Like when you say the Jonathan Taylor range, if instead you trade for Swift, you trade for Hall, you trade for ETN, you trade for Jacobs, you trade for Montgomery, you do you know. And that's what does make these drafts very valuable, where you can get a sense of overall value. Eddie says, St. Brown, Ford, Puka, Debo, Olave, ETN. Hurts, Bijan, Kyron, Spears, Ford, Wilson, James Cook, Waddle, Lockett, St. Brown, Puka, Watson, Andrews. St. Brown to Debo, downgrade. Ford to ETN, massive upgrade. Puka to Olave, downgrade. Even if I was saying previously I wanted Olave, I think now you have to say you'd probably rather have Puka. St. Brown, ETN, up to you. Puka, Olave, probably Puka. For Debo, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it really is up to you. I don't love selling Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, though. Kenny says 2-3 at BBR 8-team league. We have Tua, Amon-Ra, Olave, Kelsey, JT, James Cook, Puka, Collins, Moss, Watson, Amari, Burrow. Who do we start this week? Aaron Jones on the waiver wire. Hell yes, go get Aaron Jones, even in an 8-team league. And this week we're going to be starting Puka, Amon-Ra, wide receiver. Quarterback, we're going to go Tua. Running back, we are going to be going with Jonathan Taylor and James Cook. And tight end, we are going to go Kelsey. And then we're going to go Olave for the flex. Okay, we are back up on the clock. Let's swing this back around. Then we may end up getting stuck taking Najee here. Not really looking at quarterback. James Conner's not draftable when we take Jefferson. Who else do we want here? Do we just take Jaleel with the Javonte injury and hope that he does something? I think that's the play. We'll go Jaleel and say, okay, maybe he is operating in a committee going forward and maybe he is viable. I don't know. It's a possibility. Probably not, but it's round 10. Okay. So now our next question out for Brandon says, who should we start in the flex, Thielen or Ridley? I'm going to go Ridley, my man. We have Keenan and DJ Moore starting. Love the streams. Thank you so much. And yeah, I definitely think that Thielen has been crushing. We did rank Thielen as a top 24 wide receiver this week. We are saying that he's a lot better than he was, but I don't know if we can start him over Ridley. AWS says, should we drop Javonte for Jeff Wilson? Jaleel and Spears are available as well. Kyron for Jefferson. We have Barkley, Bijan, James Cook, Higgins, Watson. If you can slide Jefferson to the IR, what I think we look to do is we look to trade Kyron for Jefferson, put Jefferson on the IR. Then that way we can just go off the waiver wire and pick up Jeff Wilson without having to drop anybody, right? I think that would make a lot of sense. And if this roster is so shallow where we're having to drop like Javonte, then we probably just care about the long-term upside. Rondell says 2-3, 10th place in a 12-team. Trade Jefferson for Devonta Smith. If Smith will be a starter for you right now, then yes. Logan says St. Brown, White, or Etienne, Boyd, Roshan. St. Brown to Etienne, up to you. White versus Boyd and Roshan. Give me White. So I'd probably go St. Brown and White. Ray says 12-team PBR double flex. 1-4. Want to trade in my core is Watson, Love, JT, Etienne, Tyreek, Lamb, Devonta, DJ Moore, Waller, Musgrave. Should I try to upgrade a quarterback or tight end? Want to turn the season around. If you could trade DJ Moore, Darren Baller, and go get Travis Kelce, yes. If you could trade DJ Moore and Deshaun Watson and go get Jalen Hurts, then actually, I don't think we do that. No, I think we only would do that deal if we can go get Kelsey. The reason being is when you're looking at this team, it's a 12-team PBR double flex format where we can start 4 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective. So honestly, I think this team's going to be much better going forward. I think you're in a really good spot getting JT expanded in his role. Jonathan says, forward 1, 12-team PBR. We have Allen, Cook, Rashad White, Olave, Puka, Jonathan Taylor, Schultz, Jefferson now hurt. Do we trade JT for Mixon and Goddard, or do we... I'm assuming you meant, do we trade Jefferson for Mixon and Goddard? Honestly, I'd rather have JT or Jefferson there, kind of regardless who it is. As you are 4-1, we can afford to just think about long-term upside for the playoffs there. And obviously, we are taking on the risk, but sometimes you have to. Matthew says, single flex 3 and 2, Mostert and Thielen for Stephon Diggs. Yes, we will, even with Mostert looking like he's going to crush with no HN, because maybe you have Jeff Wilson Jr. turning into something. And a running back, we have a couple viable guys at the very top. I don't think Thielen's going to be as good as he has been, so let's go get the best player. Let's go get Diggs. Zane says, 12-team Matt BBR, single flex 4-1. We have Tua, Chase, Sun God, Addison, Rice, CMC, Mixon, Madison, Kittle, Thomas. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously the Chase deal was a no-brainer. Now we're sitting in a very comfortable position where we freaking have Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CMC. Great team top to bottom. Honestly, I don't really see too many moves that we can make from here. Unless if you could send, say, like Addison and Kittle or Madison and Kittle and go get to like Kelsey, then sure. Or honestly, Madison and Kittle, even for like Hawkinson, I may do. Now, Hernan says we have Stevenson, White, Gibbs, Dermercado. Start 2. We're going to go Stevenson and White. Dermercado's not startable until we see what the role looks like. He could be the guy, but they also listed Keontae Ingram as the number 1 guy on the depth chart. Nemesis says, would you trade Jacobs for Rashad White, T. Higgins? Probably not. Now, Xavier says Andrews and Lamb for Kelsey. It is a 3-receiver double flex format. 3-receiver double flex format. I'd rather have Andrews. Lamb, 2 wide receiver single flex. Give me Kelsey. Failed failure says 6-team league traded Montgomery for Andrews, specifically in a 6-team format where everybody's going to have great running backs and it's about getting the elite level tight end. I'm fine with it. Eddie says the need of flex, Javonte Jaleel, Gibbs, Tajee, Jeff Wilson Jr., Kirk, Nico, Hopkins. We will go Nico Collins out of these guys, especially if Tank Dell does not play. Mark says 10-team PBR deep team. We have Hurts, Etienne, Swift, Kyron, Connor, Taylor, Chase, Puka, St. Brown, Addison, Dell, Ferguson. Which tight end to target? I think really the tier we're going to be looking at will be Hawkinson and Andrews. Kittle was a buy low guy for us previously. Now you already missed the spike week's going to cost way too much as well. If you could go through and send like Jordan Addison and Ferguson and go get TJ Hawkinson, go get Andrews, that would be an absolute no-brainer. And obviously would throw in a depth piece like James Conner or Tank Dell to get it done. Now, Jeff Wilson Jr. off the board, 129. Honestly, great pick. I'd have been excited about getting Jeff Wilson Jr. here. Okay. So now quarterback, we have Tua, Cousins. We have Cousins double stacked with Jefferson, Addison. Running back, we are toast with Kyron, Najee, Jaleel. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. We have Evan Ingram at tight ends. Regular fantasy football draft, I would hate it. Underdog tournament, I kind of like it. I think it has eyes ceiling for weeks 15, 16, 17, which is what we're looking to do. Okay. Love off 130. Try to get a sense of what we were going to have on the way back around. Stafford goes. So we're going to take a few running backs that have roles on a week-to-week perspective so they could randomly spike into your lineup if you get a random touchdown. But at the same time, if the starter were to go down in front of them, then at that point, they are players that we can be excited about, and they are players that we can look to go through and project out as high-end RB2s, low-end RB1s. Like, say Madison goes down, Akers is probably a mid-RB2. Bijan goes down, Algier's probably a low-end RB1. And at the same time, I mean, we'll occasionally have a week or two where these guys are useful. Justice says, should we trade Kyron for Metcalf? Hell no. We still have Swift, Brees, Montgomery, JT. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we probably need a wide receiver for a running back here, but you're just not getting nearly a high enough price tag. Keep Kyron over Metcalf. Xavier says, being offered a Monroe for Waddle, DJ. Is this an overpay? I mean, I don't mind it. I will say I think DJ Moore has more value than that, just what I've seen. Alex says 1-4. Fields, Achane, Montgomery, Etienne, Garrett, Evans, Judy, Kmet. Need points now. Who should we trade Achane for? Like, if you're seeing where Achane went in this draft, Achane goes 67. The running backs that he goes directly behind are Derrick Henry, James Cook, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Joe Mixon, Raheem Mostert, Kyron Williams. If you could trade Achane for any one of those guys, I think that would be a no-brainer. Chief Burp says, loaded at running back with Barkley, Jacobs, Walker, Etienne, Montgomery, Swift, Kyron, Aaron Jones. Would you trade any of the running backs for Puka, or am I better off with the running backs? I'm short wide receiver depth. It's a double flex 8-team league. We are not going to be looking to trade one of the running backs for a wide receiver depth piece in an 8-team format like Puka straight up. Instead, if we could go through and if we could take maybe say Kyron Williams and send him with a wide receiver like Nico Collins and then go get a stud option. I mean, if you wanted to go David Montgomery, Nico Collins, and go get to like the Stephon Diggs range, I think that would be the no-brainer play in an 8-team league. I don't necessarily know if we should be trading one of the running backs just straight up for Puka. JJ says, got offered Kyron for Laporta, Rashad White in a double flex format. I mean, honestly, I don't mind the idea of selling Laporta with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson coming back in. You just need a much higher price tag, if you will. Hunter says 12-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, non-PBR, Mixon, 4 James Cook. We're going to go Mixon at this point, especially if you have Joe Burrow good to go. Now, Sharp says Kelsey on the trade block. What to offer for him? It's a double flex format. We have Allen, Swift, Hall, Brian Robinson, Warren, Chase, Waddle, Puka, Ridley, Collins, Addison, Logan Thomas. I would trade any player on this team for Kelsey, not named Jamar Chase. I think what the easiest deal to do would be is to take one of the depth pieces like either Brian Robinson, Jalen Warren, Logan Thomas, and package him with Puka. Like if you could send, say, Puka, Nico Collins and get Travis Kelsey, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Puka and Logan Thomas, Puka, Brian Robinson, Nico Collins and Brian Robinson, Nico Collins, and maybe even if you want to go up to like Breece Hall, I think you can afford to overpay for Kelsey there. Samuel says, trade my Puka and Christian Watson for Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have Cup. I'm fine with it. I don't think you need to be selling Puka just because you have Cup, though. Kier says, pick Breece, Lamb, Ingram, or Bijan and Kittle. Kittle over Ingram, but they're close. Bijan versus Breece and Lamb will be dependent on if you need the depth or the top end guy. Bijan's definitely still the best player there. Miles says PBR 5-0 trade Hockenson and DK for AJ Brown and Kmet. Yes, I'd rather have AJ Brown over Hockenson and DK. I just don't really value DK Metcalf as much as the next guy. Adam says 10-team PBR 3-2. We have Stroud, Taylor, Pierce, Tyreek, Waddle, Olave, Kelsey. Good offered Kelsey and Jonathan Taylor for Eckler, Tua, Pitts. What are your thoughts? So going from Kelsey to Eckler, give me Eckler. Paying Taylor for Tua and Pitts, I would rather have Taylor. But honestly, I think that when we're getting the best player in Eckler, if you are a believer in Pitts going forward, you can go ahead and make that deal. It's just very hard for me personally to go through and pull the trigger on that. Okay. So let's swing this back around. Robert Woods off 152. Brandon Cooks goes 153. Ryan says it's a 10-team PBR 1 flex. We have the Lions running backs, Jacobs. Yes, I would definitely give Josh Jacobs and Christian Watson for Austin Eckler here, especially when we're loaded like this and it's a 10-team league with only 1 flex. That makes so much sense. Rajan says, happy belated birthday, boy. Thank you, my man. We have always appreciate you for us grinding here. 14-team full PBR. Sit one between Waddle, Addison, Puka, and Ridley. Ooh. Tough spot to be in. I mean, Jordan Addison I did rank as like a quote-unquote must-start player this week. I have Addison at wide receiver 20, right behind Waddle, Wilson, Metcalf. I do think that out of these guys, Addison's probably the bench still. I think you maybe make an argument for Addison long-term. We're going to take 3 tight ends here. Keep in mind, underdog best ball, right? You're never drafting 3 tight ends in your regular fantasy football draft. But when these guys are just going to randomly spike into your starting lineup, it is something that we can look at. But going in, looking at Jordan Addison, it can't hurt to just see what we are going to get this week. Obviously, very good matchup going up against Chicago, though. Great team in a 14-team league. Now, Griffin faces 3-2, 10-team league. We have Burrow, Cup, AJ Devonta, Pollard, JT, Andrews, Moss, McPherson, starting Jefferson, Cousins, Ford on the bench. Should we trade Jefferson? 3-2, 10-team league. I would say that actually, when we have this strong of a starting lineup, probably going to be sitting still for now. The only thing is, I'd be looking to see if we could possibly work the waiver wire to get a better play in over Zach Moss. If we were 1-4, we had panic sell Justin Jefferson, but we're a winning team. It's only a 10-team format as well, where depth's going to be a little bit easier to come by. Ricky says Laporta for Etienne straight up with Logan Thomas as the backup tight ends. I would rather have Etienne over Laporta. Ford one, strong wide receiver with the mix-up. Yes, sir. Give me Etienne. I mean, if you are looking, Laporta obviously is absolutely crushed. But at the same time, you do have Amon-Ra St. Brown coming back. You have Gibbs going to do something later on. And Jameson Williams may expand his role as well. The Money Family coming out says double flex, 10-team full BBR format. Trade Puka or Amon-Ra for Purdy, Pollard, Kyron, Keenan, Diggs, A.J. Brown. I'm 3-2. Any moves? Okay. No, I don't think we do this. I think you're fine at running back. I honestly don't think you need to make any moves. And in my mind, Puka or Amon-Ra St. Brown for Mixon's going to be a downgrade. If you look at where these guys go in this draft, you have Mixon going off the board at pick 42. You have Puka going off the board at 22 and Amon-Ra St. Brown off at 13. See, I do think you're probably overpaying there, my man. Probably overpaying. Okay. Let me swing this back around. And good. I think that was our last question. Perfect. And yeah, let me show y'all this draft board. Let me know if y'all have any questions about specific players that you want me to talk about, whether I took them or whether you're just thinking, Mason, this guy looks like he was a massive value in this draft, or this guy looks like he is way undervalued. Way overvalued. If you see something, please let me know in the live chat, and I'd be happy to address it. We got Sports Nutritionist says Miles Sanders can bounce back. Where did Sanders go in this draft? Goes 105. Sanders going directly behind Javonte, Roschon, Zach Moss, Alexander Madison, and right before Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, Jaleel, Tajay Spears. I'm completely fine with that Miles Sanders price point. Isaiah says Isaiah Pacheco kind of high. I mean, this is Isaiah on Isaiah crime here, my man. Isaiah at 48 going directly before Aaron Jones, James Cook, Derrick Henry. I think I'd still rather have Derrick Henry over Isaiah Pacheco, but I don't know. Blue asking if we think Saquon's going to get traded. Have there been any rumors regarding Saquon getting dealt? Let me run over to Twitter and see if that's been a thing here, my friend. Let me see. Okay. I don't see anything about Saquon getting traded. I don't see a single person talking about that, my friend. Swing this around. We're going to have to at least take 3 more receivers. Most likely 4. Burks goes. Good pick. I would have loved Burks. Take Odell, see if he does absolutely anything. And we'll go ahead and we'll take 1 share Kareem Hunt. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to draft 2 wide receivers at the very end here. Let me show you off our team. Keep in mind, this is an Underdog basketball tournament, so way different than your just regular fantasy football league. We're not submitting our starting lineup. That's automatically being done for us at the end of every single week. No moves on the waiver wire. That's why we went 18 rounds deep in this draft. I mean, that's how I drafted 400, 500 teams on Underdog this year. It's how I won $150,000 in Underdog drafts last season. And yeah, I mean, it's my favorite, one of my favorite ways to play, just with how busy I am during the season, is getting in a few of these extra best ball drafts. Doesn't take any time away from the leagues that I care most about. And of course, if you want to get into our next draft on Underdog, ladies and gentlemen, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match. You're going to get our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Get a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard, and a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. Underdog hooked us up with our birthday to get y'all all that, so please make sure you take advantage. And I think that should be it. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day. And you can also check, I don't know. Appreciate you. See you out in the live stream later tonight.